Anxiety in relationships can manifest itself in many ways, including social anxiety, panic attacks, depression, negative thinking, jealousy, and attachment issues. If you feel like anxiety is ruining your relationships and holding you back from happiness, then this is the audiobook for you. Hello, this is Sebastian Clark, and you are listening to Anxiety in Relationships: How to Overcome Couple Conflicts and Improve Communication to Avoid Social Anxiety, Panic Attacks, Depression, Negative Thinking, Jealousy, Attachment, and Separation. Provided to you by United Audiobooks. I hope you enjoy my audiobook. Now, let us begin. Introduction. You have a beautiful partner in a loving relationship. You've established boundaries, gained trust, and learned how to communicate best. Also, you might notice that you continually doubt your partner, yourself, and the relationship. Will things last long? How do you know if this person is the one you should be with? What if they have a secret dark agenda? What if you cannot simply keep a loving, committed relationship? Relation anxiety is the term for this persistent worrying. It alludes to the worries, insecurities, and doubts that sometimes surface in a relationship, even when things are going fairly well. You probably have relationship anxiety if you're in a relationship and you constantly wonder why the other person is with you or when it will ultimately end. Although it can show itself in various ways depending on the individual, relationship anxiety is typically recognized by excessive worry over a romantic connection. Folks, this isn't butterflies, it's the opposite. Healthy relationships occasionally have problems. Your in-laws driving you nuts, the kids are having problems in school, or you and your partner are both fatigued from work. You understand what I'm talking about here. Relationships might encounter various issues, including redundancy, illness, and relocation. No wonder issues develop even in the healthiest partnerships. Resolving marital issues before they escalate into more serious ones is crucial if you want to keep a strong relationship. When do typical problems in relationships initially show up? For some individuals, that phase of love eventually fades. As time passes, what was once euphoric becomes intolerable, and both partners in the relationship make their fair share of mistakes. Couples often encounter minor issues in their marriages that can be easily avoided with cooperation, mutual respect, and understanding. There will surely be bumps in the road, but if you're ready for them, you can navigate them without jeopardizing your marriage. Nobody's perfect, and will never be the same in every regard. However, some character flaws will be expected and tolerated. If there are any habits, such as small white lies or transgressions here and there, it's vital to consider them on a broader scale as the relationship progresses. Is that something you want to be resolved forever, or is that a deal breaker? Something to consider. Intimate connections serve as a mirror, reflecting both our best and worst qualities. They have the power to exacerbate or ease our conflicts. They can seem like magic when they're working properly. Anxiety may steal the enchantment and weaken the bond between the two people who belong together, even though they're completely right. All relationships require trust, compassion, perseverance, and openness. These come in truckloads for people with anxiety who are generous with them in relationships. The issue is that anxiety may occasionally undermine them just as fast. Many aspects about you will make loving you easy if you suffer from anxiety. Every relationship experiences ups and downs, but when anxiety is involved, those ups and downs can be quite specific, very natural and specific. Not all of the following will apply to every relationship because anxiety can behave peculiarly and affect various relationships differently. 8 chapters are provided here to assist you in improving your relationship and shielding it from the effects of anxiety. Chapter 1. What is relationship anxiety? Anxiety can creep in at any point during a relationship, regardless of how long you've been with your spouse. But don't fret. Being uncertain about your relationship is quite normal, usually. According to experts, everyone experiences anxiety at different times in their dating lives. The way it influences your relationship also varies. Sometimes the anxiety is short, others experience it in waves, and in certain instances, it persists. Even if you belong to the last group, it doesn't necessarily mean your relationship will end soon. However, it's crucial to address it. Keeping the anxiety in check can prevent the relationship from deteriorating or even push you to sabotage it. Anxiety is often caused by events that occurred to you as a child. People might become attached to the figures they love in numerous ways as children, such as their parents or other parental figures. And even if you've matured, those experiences continue to influence how you react to and trust others, such as love relationships. For instance, if your home was unstable, you may have grown up worrying that your partner might leave you, reject you, or hurt you in a relationship. However, there are other possibilities for why you could be uneasy besides childhood fears. According to studies, anxiety can start in your personal life and then bleed over into your relationship, even in long-term love relationships. Consider issues like low self-esteem, employment uncertainty, or parental anxiety. Such feelings may impact your interactions with your partner. While everyone's experience of relationship anxiety is different, there are nonetheless common aspects that contribute to this sensation. Continue listening to learn the reasons for relationship anxiety and coping strategies. So, what is relationship anxiety? Anxiety about a romantic or friendship relationship is referred to as relationship anxiety. People have doubts, anxieties, or second thoughts about their spouse or relationship. You can be concerned about whether your partner still finds you appealing, if they'll find someone else to love more than you, or if they're still attracted to you. Even though your partner assures you, you can find it difficult to believe them. Doubting your spouse can ultimately result in you destroying the relationship. You can pressure them to confirm their loyalty, cause fights, or test them by, for example, complimenting the server's appearance at dinner to see how they'll react. Relationship anxiety is difficult to identify and treat since there are no established diagnostic criteria, unlike other types of anxiety like panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. Some characteristics of social anxiety disorder are included in relationship anxiety. In particular, both circumstances might make a person uncomfortable about rejection. Although many worry about being accepted and receiving the same in a relationship, anxiety typically arises when a person has excessive dread or worry. For instance, anxiety can cause someone to worry about their relationship's future. People who struggle with relationship anxiety may break up with their partners out of fear or stay together despite severe worry. This anxiety could make it more difficult for that person to function in the relationship. What are some signs of relationship anxiety? You may undoubtedly experience some anxiety when you initially begin dating someone. Once you've been dating for a while, these emotions typically fade as you grow accustomed to one another. However, there are situations when someone may continue to experience excessive anxiety in a relationship to the point where it starts to overshadow any beneficial elements. Here are some indicators that you might be dealing with relationship anxiety. Not sure about your partner's regard for you. Relationship anxiety most often manifests as the questions, "Do I matter?" or "Are you there for me?" This relates to a basic want to feel connected to as long as you belong in a safe relationship. For instance, you might be concerned that if you weren't there, your spouse wouldn't miss you very much. In a critical issue, they might not provide assistance or support. They only desire your company because of what you can provide for them. Having doubts about your partner's feelings for you. You've traded a lot of "I love yous." They always act kindly towards you, bringing you lunch or going out of their way to see you home, and they always seem delighted to see you. But the nagging suspicion that they don't love me is still there. Perhaps they take a while to react to physical affection, or they ignore texts for a day or more without responding. You wonder if their feelings have changed when they suddenly seem a little distant. Everyone has these occasional fears, but they could become a focus if you have relationship anxiety. Concern that they want to break up. You can experience these feelings in a healthy relationship. It's completely normal to want to cling to these emotions and wish that nothing would happen to end the relationship. But occasionally, these ideas might develop into a steadfast worry that your lover will leave you. Changing your actions to win their continuous affection can make this anxiety challenging. You could, for instance, refrain from bringing up concerns that are important to you in a relationship, such as being frequently late. Ignore your partner's annoying behaviors, such as wearing shoes inside your house. Worry a lot that they'll get upset with you even if they don't appear to be angry. Long-term compatibility is in question. Even when a relationship is going well, relationship anxiety can cause you to wonder if you and your spouse are compatible. You can also wonder if you truly feel happy or pretending. In response, you can start concentrating on little distinctions and exaggerating their significance, such as how they enjoy punk music while you prefer folk rock. Jeopardizing the connection. Anxiety in relationships can be the fundamental cause of sabotaging behavior. Even though you might not be aware of it, the fundamental purpose of these actions is often to gauge how much your partner cares for you. For instance, you might believe that the fact that they resist your attempts to push them away is evidence that they genuinely love you. However, it's incredibly challenging for your partner to recognize this hidden agenda. Another sign of relationship anxiety is a propensity to analyze your partner's remarks and behaviors in great detail. They might not enjoy holding hands, or perhaps they insist on retaining all of their old furnishings when you finally decide to move in together. Yes, each of these could indicate a potential problem. However, it's more likely that they adore living room furniture or have sweaty hands. Not being present for the fun times. You may still be unsure about whether you have relationship anxiety. Take a step back and ask yourself, am I spending more time worrying about this relationship than I am enjoying it? This might be the situation when things are difficult. However, if you have these feelings often, you most likely have relationship anxiety. Causes of anxiety in relationships. Both extremely critical problems and significantly less serious problems can make people anxious. However, every anxiety is a challenge, and relationship anxiety is something you want to get rid of. The following are a few common causes of relationship anxiety. Loss of trust regarding the future of the relationship. Uncertainty regarding the relationship's future is undoubtedly the most common source of anxiety. This may result from frequent disagreements, previous breakups, or increased distance. Whatever the reason, losing the assurance that the relationship will succeed can make you anxious because you won't know what to do with your life. General lack of trust. Of course, a general lack of trust is also a concern, especially in the wake of more minor problems like forgetting to complete key errands around the house, or more significant ones like infidelity. A relationship's foundational element is trust. Once it's lost, it may be quite challenging to reestablish it spontaneously. Battle eggshells. A frequent fight is a concern. However, the issue isn't simply that fights involve anger. It's also this pervasive sense of fear that you'll get into another fight again. Because you are hesitant to accomplish anything around the house for fear that another argument will break out at any minute, this worry can generate tremendous anxiety. Negativity. Negativity is prevalent in troubled relationships as well. The two of you are rarely as cordial and pleasant with one another as you previously were. Even your lighthearted jokes turn sour, and frequently you speak in a critical or hostile manner. Though the specific mechanism is unclear, persistent pessimism and negative thoughts seem to increase anxiety. This is a very serious issue. Stress. Of course, chronic stress is probably the main factor contributing to relationship anxiety's prevalence in unhappy partnerships. Most of the time, the stress builds up gradually, and ongoing stress exacerbates anxiety and can lead to anxiety disorders. Therefore, it's common to exhibit signs of anxiety inside and outside of your relationship when you're in a difficult relationship and feel tense all the time. Anxiety in relationships is rather common. Relationship anxiety may already exist in a person or develop over time. This kind of anxiety often requires two approaches: dealing with the relationship and the anxiety itself. To learn more about this, listen to the next chapter. Chapter 2. Managing Insecure Attachment Styles. You may have an insecure attachment style if you struggle in intimate relationships. The good thing is that you can get through it if you're honest, work hard, and have support. Though they may appear to be two isolated character flaws, having a fear of abandonment and finding it difficult to ask for help have something in common. Most people who exhibit these behaviors share an attachment style characterized by insecurity, known as an insecure attachment style. Insecure attachment. What is it? An insecure attachment style is a technique of approaching relationships with fear or uncertainty. This attachment style might make it challenging for individuals to develop strong emotional bonds and personal connections with a partner. An individual with an insecure attachment to another often experiences relationship anxiety and worries about whether or not their personal needs and aspirations will be met by their partner. They might anticipate that the other person would leave them or cause them harm. All attachment styles that are not secure are collectively referred to as insecure attachment styles. Types of insecure attachment. There are 3 types of insecure attachment. Each category describes a collection of distinct behavioral patterns that influence how people interact with one another. Avoidant. An individual with avoidant attachment has difficulty with emotional closeness or intimacy. They might not seek out close relationships with others. With avoidant insecure attachment, an adult might experience issues with intimacy, refrain from engaging in social and romantic relationships, refuse to share their thoughts and feelings with others, suppress unpleasant feelings or thoughts so they won't have to confront them directly. They might also cherish their independence and try to maintain it throughout relationships if they find it uncomfortable to become overly close to another person. Ambivalent. A person who needs and seeks closeness yet finds it difficult to trust or fully rely on a partner is said to have an ambivalent attachment, also referred to as an anxious preoccupied attachment or an ambivalent anxious attachment. This indicates that while a person may be open to intimacy, they often experience fear or worry that if they do so, they may end up losing the person they value. Their yearning for connection is at odds with the way they often behave. Additionally, they experience relationship anxiety and worry about being dumped. The person with this attachment type fears breakups, so they may become nervous, clingy, manipulative, or dismissive toward their loved ones due to their worries. Disorganized. Conflicting actions are classified as disorganized attachments. This type of connection causes a person to struggle between wanting to be loved and avoiding love to defend oneself. Someone with a disorganized attachment may behave incoherently and erratically in their relationships. People with disorganized attachment frequently experience fear and anxiety when starting a new relationship since they are unsure of the situation's safety. An individual with a disorganized attachment style may also have the following traits: low self-esteem, a low sense of self, harmful self-talk, abhorrent loneliness, fear of rejection, making assumptions about people's intentions when forming relationships, lack of confidence in others. Causes of insecure attachment. Experiences shape all forms of attachment in childhood. Different experiences will mold each type differently. Avoidant. Adults with avoidant attachment styles often had childhood situations in which their parents or other primary caregivers were emotionally unavailable, leaving them feeling unwanted or rejected. When they thought they needed care the most, they may have had to deal with their careers being cold, uncommunicative, or extremely harsh and dismissive. This can include instances in which they were frightened, ill, or injured. Following are a few examples of parental or caregiver behaviors that can cause avoidant attachment. Telling a kid to get over their sadness by toughing up. Ignoring a youngster's cries, fear, or other signs of distress. Distancing themselves from a child when they display distressing feelings. Making a young person feel guilty for having emotions. Ambivalent. Ambivalent attachment happens when a caregiver or parent responds indifferently to a child's emotional needs. This may imply that a child's caregiver would occasionally be warm and accessible to the child while being cold and closed off at other times. In this situation, the child doesn't fully comprehend the reasons behind the parent or caregiver's inconsistent emotional support and love. They are confused as to why they sometimes experience love, but not others. They consequently develop a dread of not receiving the love or emotional support they require at any given time. Disorganized. When a parent or caregiver continuously ignores their child's needs when they are in distress, disorganized attachment can develop. In addition, some parents or caregivers may yell at the child to stop being upset to prevent the child from expressing their emotions. Sometimes, a child's verbal, physical, or sexual abuse can lead to disorganized attachment. Despite the abuse, the child still feels connected to their parent or caregiver, but is terrified of them. This causes the need for love and concern for safety to fluctuate constantly. How to manage insecure attachment and strengthen adults' relationships. A secure attachment type has definite advantages. When people are securely attached, their relationships last longer and are more stable and pleasant. In contrast, when people are insecurely attached, they go through more drama and feel less satisfied. What should you do if you have one of the 3 other insecure attachment types? According to research, your attachment style is not necessarily fixed and need not stand in the way of you and your partner having a happy relationship. Here are some recommendations to assist you in overcoming your insecurity and forming more fulfilling adult relationships. 1. Choose a partner who is securely attached. One of the best ways to learn secure attachment is to see it in action and experience how good it can feel. Having a partner who has a secure attachment type is prepared to be emotionally open to you and is supportive of you is fantastic for this reason. How can you tell if a possible partner has a secure attachment? Individuals with strong attachment let their feelings out, but not in an overly intense way very early on in the relationship. Give and accept emotional support voluntarily. Are self-sufficient, yet also open to connecting with you and savoring intimacy. Accept that you can live independently of them. However, warning signs of an insecure attachment style include the following: wanting to keep a close eye on you, constantly needing confirmation that you're interested in them, not wanting to get close or experience emotional intimacy, ignoring you or making an effort to push you away. A secure attachment partner can serve as a good example of how to be self-assured and emotionally transparent. Additionally, it will provide a secure environment for you to test out secure attachments. You deserve praise for your efforts here, so be kind to yourself and let your partner know how much you appreciate them often. 2. If you tend to be avoidant, make a special effort to get intimate with your partner. If you possess an insecure attachment style, you probably already know you struggle with commitment or intimacy. You become aware of your little uneasiness with the proximity in these circumstances. Or you blame yourself for losing a spouse you adored because you could not move forward. But how can you get through the hesitation that inevitably arises? The shortest response is practice. Consider this technique akin to exposure treatment, a very successful behavioral therapy strategy for people with a phobia. People undergoing exposure therapy might purposefully stare at, be close to, or even play with spiders if they have a severe aversion to them. The notion is that avoiding spiders makes the phobia worse. But if you get close to them, you'll see that spiders aren't all that nasty. It allows your body and brain time to adjust to spiders so that you don't react to them as frightenedly. You can practice emotional intimacy by purposefully approaching it with your partner. Why not try it out? Even if you don't find true love, you'll get valuable experience by experimenting with emotional intimacy. 3. Have patience, but use therapy to improve your ability to control your emotions and interact with others. Of course, you probably won't change your attachment style overnight, even if you find a securely attached partner and put a lot of effort into practicing intimacy. Allow the experience to be your teacher while being kind to yourself. When relationships don't work out, take time to reflect and be willing to own your part in the problem. It will be worthwhile to work on oneself. According to a significant body of research, even those with insecure attachment styles were safeguarded from experiencing intimacy issues in romantic relationships by their capacity to control their emotions. Getting outside help is one approach to enhance your ability to control your emotions and your other interpersonal abilities. You can recognize patterns in your relationships, reevaluate events that you may have misconstrued, and set goals for how you can respond differently by working through counseling with a knowledgeable and impartial professional. You can learn particular techniques for controlling your emotions and successfully resolving conflicts from a therapist who specializes in dialectical behavioral therapy. They may instruct you on, for instance, how to recognize when you are emotionally hot and take a moment to calm down before acting or speaking in a way that pushes others away. Consider facts versus assumptions when your thoughts are interfering with trust. Express your emotions in an honest, transparent, fair, and considerate way to the other person. Online directories make it easy to locate a nearby therapist with a DBT and a relationship difficulties focus. It will be easier for you to be self-aware in your relationships and to learn to trust, express, and support the people who matter most, including yourself if you have these abilities in your toolkit. Although dealing with an insecure attachment style is challenging, becoming aware of it puts you on the path to creating a safe relationship. You don't have to accept your insecure attachment, even though your actions and behaviors may be outgrowths of your childhood experiences. Positive change is possible for everyone. I hope you're enjoying my audiobook so far. It would be a pleasure if you could let me know how you're feeling about this audiobook in the comments section below. We would greatly appreciate it if you could also like this video and subscribe to United Audiobooks to have access to more best-selling audiobooks in the future. Also, if you're interested in getting more free audiobooks, please click the first link in the description below. Now, let us carry on with the next chapter. Chapter 3. Negative Thinking. Ways to stop these invading thoughts. A variety of factors can ruin a perfectly good relationship. For instance, incompatibility and dishonesty are two significant ones. But specialists claim that one issue, in particular, has the power to ruin a relationship. Negative thoughts have the power to destroy relationships completely. The relationship between a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors is extremely close-knit. Therefore, thinking negatively can lead you astray. It's crucial to understand that your mental processes can seriously damage relationships. For instance, early childhood interactions with your parents may have left you feeling unlovable. Because of this, you might enter every relationship assuming that your spouse will leave you, and you might be afraid to express your concerns. We construct our realities, which is the truth. If we have a healthy relationship, we'll work through issues with the conviction that everything will turn out fine. However, when you enter a relationship with negative expectations, you constantly anticipate the worst from your partner and the relationship outcome. You must learn to transform negative thoughts into good ones if you want to avoid them. According to experts, you can take the following steps to stop toxic ideas from ruining your relationship. However, let's first define relationship negativity and examine its root causes. What is negativity in a relationship? When a spouse says or does something that can upset you, negativity in relationships is an unhealthy practice of holding on to those emotions. This might include feelings of fear, anger, grief, irritation, and even resentment. Despite your claims to have forgotten the experience, you are still struggling with these unpleasant feelings. Maintaining a healthy relationship is difficult even without coping with an antagonistic spouse or partner. The relationship you've built can suffer if you harbor fear or hostility toward a spouse. Communication is crucial if you want to transform these negative feelings into positive ones rather than masking your true feelings. Causes of negative thinking in a relationship. When a partner says or does something that irritates you, it often leads to negative thinking in relationships. You keep your feelings to yourself rather than engage in an open, sincere debate or conversation about the subject. It's crucial to express angry or unhappy feelings rather than holding them inside and allowing them to fester. If not addressed, this way of thinking can eventually lead to the breakdown of your relationship as the two of you start to drift apart. How to stop thinking negatively in a relationship. Finding techniques to transform negative thoughts into good ones is crucial. You'll always anticipate the worst from your relationships if you enter each one believing that your partner will break up with you or be unfaithful. Here are some strategies you may use to break negative thought patterns in your relationship. 1. Consider the moment you first fell in love with your partner. Relationships experience highs and lows. It's easy to let your judgment become clouded while you're going through a difficult time. When doubts about your partner's real feelings for you begin to creep into your mind, recall the moment you first fell in love with them and how you felt. Things will look a lot more upbeat and feasible if you close your eyes and visualize the gleaming individual you fell in love with. Sometimes, all we need to get through the terrible is a little memory of the happy moments. 2. Distinguish the present from the past. Fair enough. It's easier said than done to let go of the past entirely. We all carry a bit of our past to guard ourselves from suffering harm again. But if you bring your former relationships and the pain they caused into your new ones, you'll sabotage your efforts and make it seem like nothing can or ever will work. Try to separate your past and present to avoid letting them poison your thoughts. Despite how similar your ex may appear, sound, or act to your present spouse, they're not the same person. It would be much easier for you to stay more present if you could tell your current relationship apart from your previous one. 3. Discover alternative ways to use your energy. When you have toxic thoughts, you may act irrationally and sabotage relationships, like breaking into your partner's phone or putting yourself down. You need to be aware of what your thoughts are prompting you to do this to stop this propensity. What makes you need to text your partner 20 times in a row to check in, for instance? Most likely, you're seeking some assurance that your partner is still interested in you. Take some time for yourself and practice coping mechanisms like counting to 10 and breathing when you feel the need to do these things. Find techniques to lessen your strong emotions so you don't react in ways you'll later regret. 4. Never assume you know your partner's thoughts. Negative thoughts often result from presumptions that aren't always supported by reality. You'll read negativity from the other person when you project your negative emotions onto someone or your significant other. Never assume anything in this situation. Don't make snap judgments. Don't let it consume you if you can avoid it. Find out the truth and talk to your partner about it. Try to accept what they say at face value or seek clarification. Never presume to know someone else's feelings. 5. Pick one person to whom you can vent about your relationship problems. It's usual to vent your frustrations to anyone who will listen when you're furious at your partner. But by doing that, you are separating your significant other from your reality. You wouldn't believe how much negativity this would encourage. If you truly need to rant, pick one person and stick with them as your go-to. Sharing your dirty secrets with everyone can only lead to more negativity and hurt feelings. 6. List your negative thoughts and come up with some constructive alternatives. It takes some introspection to stop harmful thoughts from ruining your relationship. It's important to physically write out typical thoughts that cause arguments or even breakups while reflecting. Take it a step further and provide concrete arguments in support or in opposition to each idea. Create a more precise and adaptable alternative notion after you've done that. Make a list of all the other things your partner might be doing. For instance, if you believe they're no longer interested in you since they ignored your text. Consider occasions when they were slow to answer or indicated they were still interested. An alternative perspective in this situation may be as straightforward as, just because I haven't heard from them yet doesn't mean they're not interested. It will be more effective if you're more specific. 7. Take the possibility of breaking up out of the equation. Whatever your negative thoughts are, they almost always originate from the same emotion, fear. Particularly the fear that your lover might leave. I use the analogy, when someone commits, they burn the ship. You must cooperate to make it work because if you burn the ship, there will be no way to leave the island. You begin to recognize the positive aspects of a situation when there are no other options. By eliminating the potential of ending the relationship, i.e. burning the ship, you can approach your relationship with love rather than fear. You'll find it much easier to maintain your good attitude when your words and deeds are motivated by love. A thought is only a thought at the end of the day. It may not always reflect reality. Your relationship will be much better if you don't let it break you. In a relationship, negative thoughts can grow and eventually cause what was once a healthy partnership to degenerate. If you believe the relationship can be saved, but you realize that your partner does not recognize the behavior and you have little success with constructive dialogue, the only option is to seek help from a third-party couples counselor. Chapter 4: Couple Conflicts and How to Overcome It. All relationships will experience disagreements at some point, but how they are handled is what counts. How you resolve a conflict with your partner can indicate whether or not your relationship is healthy. One thing is easy to forget in today's society of dating reality programs, smartphone applications, and romantic comedies: relationships take work. We don't often swipe right, find love, and then live happily ever after. It's tempting to give up when things are difficult, rationalize that it wouldn't have gone well anyway, and move on rather than putting in the effort to learn how to handle disagreements in a relationship. What causes conflict in relationships? Relationship disputes can arise for various reasons, from basic everyday disagreements like who does the dishes to significant problems like adultery. In addition to economics, family obligation, insecurity, and emotional stonewalling, some typical relationship stressors include emotional stonewalling, loss of attraction and passion, and loss of commitment. Relationships are also impacted by stress in other aspects of our lives, such as when you are dealing with conflict with other friends or family members, or are stressed out after a long day at work. To improve your relationship, you must develop effective conflict resolution skills in all spheres of your life. How to resolve conflicts in relationships without hurting one another. How you manage a conflict reveals your feelings for your partner. We'll look at 9 respectful strategies to handle disputes in relationships without sending your partner away. 1. Don't shout. Instead, communicate. Relationships that are healthy and effective are built on communication. Communication between partners helps to foster trust. They are aware of the triggers to avoid since they know how the other person thinks and feels. Regularly communicate with your partner, especially in times of misunderstanding. Keeping your calm while things are heated up can be challenging. Avoid yelling and name-calling if you want to resolve a marital issue without hurting your partner. Speak to the problem by posing questions like, who are you mad at? What is the underlying cause of the issue? How can this conflict be resolved? How can you stop this problem from arising in the future? 2. Develop your ears. To resolve conflicts, listening is just as crucial as speaking. When you listen to your spouse, you demonstrate respect for them. It's also good to be silent and understanding while your spouse communicates their emotions. By avoiding distractions, you can also settle a disagreement graciously in a relationship. As you speak, maintain eye contact and block out any background noise like the phone, radio, or TV. 3. Pick the appropriate moment to address differences. It's crucial to pick the perfect moment to bring up a problem with your spouse if you want to resolve it. If your partner is alert and in a good mood, problem solving will go more effortlessly. However, if they're irritable, exhausted, stressed, hungry, or otherwise preoccupied, it would not be a good idea to bring up a topic that might result in a dispute. 4. Be careful of your tone. Do you understand your voice tone? Our partner may start crying when we say anything to them that we believe to be mild. They may assume we're yelling at them. Avoid using sarcasm or disparaging tones if you want to handle relationship issues without harming your partner. Text-based disputes are a surefire way to cause misunderstandings in your relationship. Your partner is left wondering what voice you are using to address them. Call your spouse immediately to clarify if you get a text message that you feel is misconstrued. 5. Be respectful. When matters grow heated, you may use harsh language or take other uncharacteristic acts that you're not used to. One of the worst things you can do during an argument is disrespecting your partner. You can resolve a disagreement with your partner without harming them by giving yourself some time to collect yourself, or reopening old wounds to force your spouse to comply regarding conflict resolution. It has to do with resolving a dilemma. Sticking to the subject at hand, taking your partner's viewpoint seriously, not interrupting your spouse, listening attentively, and letting cooler heads prevail are all ways to respect your relationship during conflicts. 6. Keep in mind that you love one another. When we're angry, we tend to lose control, but it's critical to remember that the person you're arguing with is also the love of your life. Even the happiest couples don't always agree on everything. It's acceptable to disagree occasionally as long as you do so lovingly and respectfully. Don't ignore a disagreement. Because you can't predict what will happen in the future, why not talk it through and have a pleasant night's rest? 7. Display empathy. Couples who don't understand one another's point of view often have disputes due to miscommunications. Empathy becomes important in this situation. The capacity to comprehend another person's feelings is known as empathy. Empathy helps you put yourself in your spouse's shoes and consider things from their point of view. The key to amicably resolving relationship conflict is empathy. You're paying attention to your spouse, bridging the gap in your disagreement, and encouraging compassion when you empathize with them. 8. Accept disagreement. Sometimes you and your partner cannot agree, whether the issue is politics, religion, or family. It's best to accept disagreements in these circumstances. This indicates that both of you understand that you won't persuade the other to change your opinion. Agree to disagree and go on as long as the situation is not urgent and won't affect your family dynamics, such as bad financial choices. 9. Develop forgiveness. Learning to forgive your spouse is one way to avoid hurting their feelings when there's a disagreement in the relationship. Although it's easy to say you forgive someone, forgiveness goes beyond simple words. By letting the situation go and not using it as leverage in a subsequent debate, you can demonstrate your forgiveness for someone. After the dispute ends, treating your partner with love and respect and letting go of your anger are necessary components of true forgiveness. Couples who want to resolve relationship issues without hurting feelings must learn how to communicate. Learning to listen, remaining polite, attempting to understand your partner's point of view, and forgiving one another are all essential components of effective communication. You can resolve your conflicts with these suggestions without starting a fight. Chapter 5. Jealousy in Relationships. We've all probably experienced the green-eyed monster's twinge at some point. Does my supervisor think less highly of me than the other young associate? Why did she get a movie invite from my best friend, but not me? When we fear losing someone or a relationship important to us, we experience jealousy. Perhaps we begin to worry that a relationship is losing its significance in the other person's eyes. Maybe we worry that someone else will sever our bond with another person. It's that feeling of, I might lose you in some manner. Sometimes experiencing a pang of jealousy is a sign that you have relationship issues to work through, or that something about your relationship isn't going the way you want it to. However, consuming jealousy, if unchecked, may be corrosive and ruin relationships. Because of this, we must learn how to recognize it and react in a useful manner. Jealousy. What is it? Jealousy is a response to an imagined or real threat to a cherished relationship. The jealous partner worries that someone else is vying for their loved one's affection. Jealousy can be problematic since an insecure partner may also experience anger, disdain, anxiety, and depression. In a relationship, a little jealousy can be comforting, and it might even be ingrained in us. But excessive jealousy can be frightening and overpowering, especially when it can result in risky actions like stalking, online dating violence, and physical abuse. Without addressing it, there's no reason to think that jealousy will get better. Wishful thinking won't help you get rid of your jealousy. It requires awareness and effort to go through these feelings because they have deep roots and reach directly to the core of the self. Causes of jealousy. Someone who battles with jealousy and is faced with a situation that can provoke this emotion may respond with fear, wrath, grief, concern, sadness, doubt, anguish, self-pity, and humiliation. Additionally, they might experience a broad sense of suspicion or menace or struggle with feelings of failure. There are numerous causes of jealousy, including feeling uneasy or having a negative self-perception. fear of rejection or betrayal, feeling a strong need for control or possessiveness, taking an incorrect ownership stance toward a partner, having irrational expectations for all relationships, having unreasonably high standards of a partner, reliving a painful experience of abandonment, fear of losing someone or something significant. Implications of jealousy in a relationship. Couples often mistake jealousy for love, especially when it occurs infrequently and is typically healthy. Atypical jealousy, however, is everything but love. An abnormally jealous individual gets increasingly scared, angry, and unjust, which destroys relationships. Eventually, bitterness and defensiveness might result from jealousy. Additionally, it undermines trust in a relationship and causes additional fights, especially if the individual who's jealous continuously questions and makes demands of the other person. Physical symptoms might also be the outcome of intense emotional events. Sometimes, jealous people deal with bodily symptoms including shaking, lightheadedness, sadness, and difficulty sleeping. In particular, if they become aggressive and do not learn constructive ways to deal with their jealousy, their persistent anger and need for confirmation might cause the relationship to end. Suggestions for controlling jealousy in a relationship. There are numerous strategies for controlling jealousy in a relationship, whether you, your spouse, or both are feeling it. Always be open, vulnerable, and truthful with one another. Also, develop a deeper self-confidence and be open to exploring your own underlying desires. Following are 15 suggestions for overcoming jealousy in a relationship. 1. Recognize and discuss jealousy openly. It could be time to open up to your partner if you've noticed jealous feelings. It's crucial to communicate. Do some introspection since jealousy often arises from an internal conflict. Then, discuss your findings with your spouse. Establish boundaries for yourself and the relationship by being open and honest about your feelings and uncomfortable situations. Healthy jealousy is displayed by a spouse open to discussing their feelings. For instance, saying, "When the guy at the party was speaking with you, I got jealous." A healthy expression of jealousy is, "He seemed to be flirting with you, which made me uneasy." It will all depend on how you choose to handle your jealousy in the relationship. 2. Understand that jealousy is typically an indicator of insecurity. We've all experienced jealousy at some point or another. Feeling intimidated by someone in our own personal lives happens frequently, but if we're not careful, jealousy can become a terrible force. Knowing how we're feeling and dealing with people might be made easier by realizing jealousy is often a symptom of insecurity. If we notice ourselves getting jealous, we might want to step back and reconsider the issue. Do we have a fear of anything? Do we feel in danger? By taking the time to recognize our emotions, we can better deal with them rather than allowing them to fester. And when we can do that, we may enhance our relationships with ourselves and others. 3. Practice controlling your emotions. Without directives, emotions can be information. That means you can feel jealous, acknowledge how unpleasant it is, and ask for the right kind of help without acting in an accusing or knee-jerk manner right away. Although we can ask our partners for help in relationships, we shouldn't want them to control our emotions for us. As part of your inner work, practice recognizing, acknowledging, experiencing, and tolerating your emotions. 4. Examine substantive problems. Determine the source of your feelings before speaking to your partner. Accept accountability for your actions and resolve to deal with your fears. One way to explore low self-esteem is to focus on understanding one's own values, such as communication, compassion, or honesty. This enables you to identify your strong points and consider what matters most to you in the relationship. This might lessen the relationship's painful sensations of overthinking and jealousy. 5. Recognize your unmet and unspoken needs. Because you'll need to exercise vulnerability, this can be challenging. When a third party is involved in jealousy, you should evaluate yourself to help you sort through the complex emotional web. You don't want to act on presumptions or fall into the trap of projecting problems or experiences from the past onto your current relationship. Asking yourself these questions can serve as a simple self-assessment. What does the feeling mean to me? Where in this relationship do I feel invisible? What do I believe the other person is getting out of this relationship that I'm no longer getting? What am I losing, in my opinion? Unmet needs can become apparent by taking the time to reflect and provide answers to these questions. You can decide how to proceed in response to your sentiments once you've obtained this new viewpoint. 6. Express any concerns. Don't hesitate to discuss this with your partner as soon as possible if your partner's behavior or if someone else's behavior towards your relationship makes you jealous. It's possible they were unaware of the behavior or how it made you feel. Take advantage of the chance to talk about or review any relationship boundaries. Find methods you and your spouse can use to make things better if you trust them but aren't sure about the relationship due to past experiences. Keep in mind that your partner chose to be with you. So, for instance, you might think about muting your partner's Instagram account if you feel jealous of a specific person in their life. This way, you won't have as many opportunities to compare yourself to them. 7. Refrain from making snap judgments. Your decisions can have long-lasting negative effects while temporarily experiencing heightened emotions. When jealousy spirals out of control, it might manifest as anger, which can cause the relationship to end. When you are emotionally aroused by jealousy, you should take a few minutes to soothe yourself. 8. Heal the wounds of the past. You may experience jealousy for another reason, such as a lack of trust in previous relationships. Trust issues often result from unpleasant or painful prior events, such as adultery in previous love relationships. However, if you don't trust your partner, you can end up trying to control them. Trying to manage your partner for circumstances beyond your control is troublesome and harmful to the relationship. However, having some influence over your partner is normal. The first step in resolving these trust issues and advancing personally is learning to heal your scars. This can greatly increase your level of trust in them and prevent you from trying to run the whole relationship. The person you're dating is not your ex-partner, so if jealousy strikes, just keep that in mind. Trust while you let go of control. 9. Consult a counselor. Don't be afraid to speak with a therapist if you have trouble controlling your jealous thoughts or sentiments. It's not always easy to discuss jealousy, and at first, you could feel even more awkward. But a good therapist will acknowledge that jealousy is common and treat you with respect and compassion. The following are indicators that you might wish to consult a therapist. Jealousy causes fixed or obsessive thoughts. Jealous feelings become overwhelming or obtrusive. Feelings or thoughts of violence. Problematic actions, such as persistently monitoring your partner on social media or spying on them. Jealousy impacts your daily life negatively, making it difficult to concentrate on your work or other tasks. 10. Attend couples counseling. Although jealousy can manifest in several ways, poor communication is typically the root of the problem. Sessions in couples therapy might assist you in seeing that your jealousy is either illogical or the result of a miscommunication. Instead of instinctively assuming that your partner is attracted to someone else, a couples therapist may teach you to be empathetic and see why they're acting the way they are. A couples therapist may also employ cognitive behavioral therapy to instruct you and your partner to recognize unwelcome, intrusive thoughts, examine their honesty, and change them with more reassuring, encouraging ones. For instance, he is friendly and professional with all his coworkers because they work together, instead of, he is planning to leave me for his coworker. When jealousy is not repressed or stigmatized, working together can bring lovers closer. Chapter 6. Effective communication in relationships. Any relationship, particularly romantic ones, depends on effective communication. Your ability to effectively explain your wants and actively listen to those of your spouse will decide how well your relationship will work. Because you can't get the skills you need, your needs aren't being addressed, and ineffective communication patterns often result in conflict and misunderstandings. The possibility of resolution is lost if either partner cannot express their wants or feelings. This is what undermines unity. Each person must learn and consistently use a variety of skills and tactics to communicate effectively. These abilities will prevent hours of misunderstandings, arguments, and tension in your relationship. Communication errors and poor practices. 1. The silent treatment. People in relationships often try to maintain power by remaining silent, which creates an emotional barrier to eliciting a response. A tactic of silent treatment that can be employed against the other spouse is lack of communication, also known as stonewalling. When their spouses stay silent, most males tend to give up and wave the white flag, but women move in closer and speak more in an attempt to change the unpleasant behavior. 2. Insults and derogatory remarks. People verbally attack their partners to defend what they perceive to be hurt during an argument. For instance, if you know your partner struggles with a certain phobia, it would be hurtful to say something like, "You're always terrified. You need to be a man. Who raised you to be so afraid?" In place of communicating their upset sentiments created by someone in or out of the relationship, people utilize insults like these as a substitute means of communication. It's a sort of emotional and verbal abuse to communicate with insults and derogatory remarks because they could sour the relationship long after the talk is concluded. 3. Screaming and yelling. When couples communicate in this fashion, the message gets lost in the noise, and new issues develop that cause the couple to become distracted from the original disagreement or problem. The most important thing is how you say it, not what you say. Yelling and screaming clearly show that the person exhibiting those actions has trouble controlling their emotions. 4. Failing to request what you want or need. Assuming your partner is aware and comprehends your thoughts will only lead to unfulfilled needs, damaged feelings, and a total lack of understanding. No one is fed if their mouth is shut. The person with unmet requirements must effectively communicate those wants to improve the likelihood that the partner will recognize and fulfill your needs. 5. Partial hearing. It's never a good idea to hear only a portion of the message and present it as fact. Due to the speaker's mistaken assumption that you're paying attention, the problem will not be remedied quickly because you're only hearing a piece of what the speaker is saying. 6. Wrong time and place. Due to the nature of the subject and to add suitable privacy for the pair, there is a time and place for specific conversations. If a conversation starts in an improper place, the listener will likely tune it out and concentrate on the inappropriateness rather than the topic. 7. Assumptions. When one or both sides in a relationship accept something true without checking, assumptions are made. This goes against compassion. There should be two sides to every discussion. Another way to demonstrate respect is to check with your lover to see if they are paying attention. This demonstrates that you're trying to get it right rather than attempting to be right. Clear communication in a relationship. Speak with one another. You cannot read your partner's mind, no matter how well you love and know each other. We must speak clearly to prevent misconceptions that can lead to hurt, anger, resentment, or confusion. Relationships require two people, each with unique communication needs and preferences. Finding a communication strategy that works for a couple's relationship is essential. Effective communication requires effort and hard work. There will never be an ideal time for communication. When speaking with your partner, be explicit so your point is accepted and understood. Verify that you have understood all your spouse has said. When you speak with your partner, strive to avoid interruptions from other people or distractions like computers, phones, or television. Be clear about the message you want to convey. Think about what you want to say. Communicate clearly. Ensure your message is clear so that your partner hears you clearly and understands what you mean. Discuss the situation and how it impacts you. Use I phrases like I need, I desire, and I feel when talking about what you want, need, and feel. Watch your tone of voice. Accept responsibility for your feelings. Listen to your spouse. Put aside your thoughts at the moment and try understanding your partner's intentions, feelings, needs, and wishes, referred to as empathy. Share positive emotions with your partner, such as what you like and cherish about them and how important they are to you. Try to let the problem go or agree to disagree if it's not that significant. Improving communication in a relationship. You can learn to communicate openly and clearly. Some people find it difficult to speak, thus, they might require time and support. These people may be attentive listeners or those whose deeds speak louder than words. You can work to make your communication better by building companionship, sharing experiences, problems, and interests with them, and expressing your love and admiration for them will strengthen your communication. Sharing intimate moments. Intimacy is more than just sexual inclination. When you feel close and attached to your mate, moments foster intimacy. It entails having the capacity to console, be consoled, and be transparent and honest. Bringing your lover a cup of tea because you can sense they are fatigued can be a simple act of intimacy. Identify one or two important topics you can agree on, such as how finances are shared, a shared objective, or parenting methods or styles. To strengthen your communication, start by asking questions like, what causes disagreement between you and your partner? Are they a result of your failure to communicate with one another? What triggers your happiness and feelings of connection? What disappointments and pains do you experience? What topics do you avoid discussing and what prevents you from doing so? How would you wish your partner's communication to change? If possible, discuss your answers to these questions with your partner after asking them. Think of inventive ways to communicate and give them a shot. Check the outcomes to see whether they enhance your communication. You'll be able to exert greater control over your interactions with others after you become more conscious of how you speak. Opening up new communication channels can result in a more rewarding relationship, even though it might not be simple initially. Seeking help for communications problems. If you're having trouble communicating better in your relationship, you might want to try speaking with a relationship counselor. Counselors are educated to identify problematic communication patterns in couples and work to change them. They offer advice, methods, and a secure environment to discuss problems. You can also think about enrolling in a course related to your relationship. Acting now and talking to someone about your worries is preferable to waiting until things deteriorate. Chapter 7. Maintaining a lasting relationship. The fact is that our feelings and relationships do evolve with time. It is temporary to experience the glimmering and exhilarating rush of falling in love. However, this does not indicate that the emotion vanishes. Rather, it changes. It is untrue that a relationship's excitement is limited to the first few months or even years when a couple is together. We can preserve the excitement of being in love and intensify our feelings of passion and intimacy regarding a long-term relationship with the partner we picked. The longer a relationship, the more likely couples may fall into certain habits, behaviors, and traps. To stay in love, one must choose the difficult path and break free from damaging influences from the past. It entails overcoming our barriers and confronting our often unconscious anxieties about intimacy. Fighting for a relationship is being obstinate about not letting ourselves stand in the way of continuing to be close to the other person. How do you maintain a long-term relationship? Long-term relationships are challenging to maintain, but rewarding in the end. You must realize that while the spark in your relationship may eventually wane, there's still nothing wrong with it. There are numerous strategies to continue strengthening your relationship. For instance, to maintain the spark between you two, try new things together. Discuss one another in conversation every day. Always ask about your relationship to identify areas where you need more effort. Put down your phones and spend some time with one another. Make an effort to repeat the actions you took at the start of your relationship that led to you falling in love. 20 Essentials for a Productive Long-Term Relationship. Although there's no ultimate solution to the questions of what constitutes a successful relationship or ways to be in a successful relationship, you may always strive to improve your relationship. Here are things to improve. Consider them the formula for a successful relationship. 1. Listen first, then speak. You must master the skill of listening if you want to maintain a long-term relationship. Most people can't maintain relationships because they don't pay close attention to each other's words while expecting to be understood. When you pay attention, you'll see that half of your issues will be fixed. 2. Constantly keep your partner's benefits in mind. As a relationship ages, people tend to lose sight of their partner's positive traits and instead concentrate on their flaws. Remember all the excellent qualities of your spouse in a relationship, even if you feel like something's lacking. One of the crucial elements of a successful relationship is concentrating on pleasant feelings. 3. Keep trying. Issues will arise, and you're aware of this. You simply need to work harder. Make sure you're not leaving an issue unanswered if you feel that your attempt to talk about it didn't go well or as you had anticipated. Try once more. 4. A positive internal state will manifest outside. Someone once stated, "You can't make someone happy if you aren't satisfied with yourself." Only when you feel good about yourself will you be able to concentrate on the positive aspects of your relationship. Your feelings toward your partner will depend on how you feel about yourself. 5. Recognize and value differences. Even though you and your lover may be soulmates, you each have a unique personality. Despite the obvious similarities, the variances are what hurt. Learn to appreciate one another and accept one another's differences. You won't be able to develop your relationship until you do so. 6. Set goals. There's a greater likelihood that you'll maintain your relationship for longer if you plan your future together. Long-term relationship goals strengthen the bond and demonstrate your commitment to one another. 7. Learn from conflicts and disagreements. Always take something away from a disagreement. Your relationship will improve as you investigate the root of the issue. Learning solves a lot of problems in relationships. 8. Grow together. For a relationship to continue, both parties must help one another improve as a person. You two can rule the world if you can learn and grow together. 9. Have fun together. Enjoy yourself and cherish every opportunity to spend time together. Take some time to reflect on your relationship with your partner. Engage in enjoyable activities. Try new things. Relax and reminisce about the amazing times you shared, or simply talk about the happiest moments of your lives. 10. Remain composed and gentle. If you believe a problem needs to be resolved, approach the situation diplomatically rather than arguing incessantly. It would be beneficial if you could perform this with patience and composure. Many people are unaware that confronting their partner with a problem will exacerbate it and have no positive effect. You must exercise good judgment and select the appropriate moment and volume. 11. Support. If you want a long-lasting relationship, you must realize that criticism should only be used constructively. Try not to criticize or pass judgment on your partner. Rather, it would be better to recognize that you're both on the same side. Though we are all fallible and prone to error, we cannot survive independently. Even if you want to critique, you should do it so the other person doesn't take it personally. You need to be willing to offer your support. 12. Show dedication. Many overlook that being in a relationship is about more than just the title. It takes a lot to keep going, so ensure your partner is aware of your desire for or love for them. They may not expect you to show them how much you care. Alternatively, they may not agree with your definition of love and commitment. Discover your partner's preferences and try to please them. 13. Don't take your relationship for granted. Your partner's confidence in your relationship may increase if you express gratitude regularly. You cannot discount the influence of minor things in a relationship, regardless of whether they ensure a successful relationship. Never take your relationship or spouse for granted. The moment you do, it's over. 14. Spend some time alone. No matter how bad things are in the world, how important your work is to you, or how busy you are with other commitments, you should always have time for your relationship. Have a lunch or dinner date where you two can both be vulnerable, share memories, or just chat about improving your relationship. You must make the most of your valuable alone time. 15. Give each other gifts. Although things don't have to be materialistic all the time, you should be aware that occasionally reminding your partner of your love and respect with a tangible gesture never harms anyone. Anything significant can be given as a present. It doesn't always have to be expensive. You can become closer to someone by ordering their favorite book, cuisine, or even a random text message stating, "I love you" or "I miss you." 16. Share to show you care. When people are not alone in their joys and sorrows, they have a greater link with one another. Sharing anything and everything with your partner can make you feel good and give you peace of mind that someone's there for you, whether it's a silly joke, dreams, concerns, or accomplishments. 17. Sexual intimacy. Intimacy is an important component of a long-term relationship. You need to maintain your relationship's sexual chemistry. Although it may not seem right, relationships last longer when partners are more sexually pleased. 18. Emotional closeness. Emotional connection is an important aspect of a relationship. Long-term relationships will be stronger if we comprehend the importance of emotional connection. You'll be happier as a result and experience less stress. 19. Financial stability. Financial issues are one of the major causes for which couples see professionals or counselors. Your financial priorities determine how the relationship will develop. If you can manage arguments about money, you've already clinched victory in half the battle. 20. Seek professional help. Many constantly think about how to have or be in a successful relationship. Sometimes you need to ask a professional for assistance so they can help you get through a difficult time. You should determine whether you need to see a therapist or someone nearby to vent your frustration. Conclusion. Remember that you're not alone if you're experiencing the negative impacts of anxiety in a relationship. Even though your experiences are unique, some can relate to and/or desire to support you. It can be difficult to understand that no relationship is guaranteed. Although you might not be able to eliminate relationship anxiety, there are steps you can take to minimize it and spend more time enjoying what you have with your partner. First, start by educating yourself about the relationship anxiety triggers, symptoms, and coping techniques, and then consider letting those people in.
We appreciate you tuning in to one of our captivating audiobooks. For more immersive experiences, here is another audiobook we're certain you'll enjoy. Don't forget to show your support by liking this video, sharing what you loved about this audiobook in the comments section below, and subscribing for more captivating audiobooks like this. Thanks for being a part of our audiobook community.